Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전 디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The hallmarks of the rainy season are evident right now. What am I talking about? The humidity, the frizzy hair, the pure unpleasantness that comes with precipitation. And sleeping at night is definitely less comfortable. And I don't know about you, but I have been reaching for more liquids, whether it's water or iced coffee. So question is this: are you ready to endure the rainy season? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, the 20th of June on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well right now. It is Friday. It's a little gloomy out there, but hey, let's focus on the Friday part. And the thing is this, I just spoke to you about the rainy season. It's upon us here in South Korea, which means we'll be getting rain on and off for the foreseeable future. And this on and off is key to the rainy season, which we call 장마철 here in Korea. And although we think the monsoon or the rainy season means consistent rain, like coming down all the time, that's actually not the case. Statistically, for the central region of the country during the average 31.5-day rainy season, well, it only rained for 17 days. But how much it rains, that's the bigger issue. Recently, we have been seeing more sudden, sporadic showers. And this is due to what are called mid-scale low-pressure fronts, which only last for, about 10 hours? What this means for us is that these fronts are harder to predict. And because they are narrower, these fronts, we have this odd phenomenon of one region seeing heavy rain, but the region maybe right next to it being completely dry. So that's what we're talking about, the narrowness of those fronts. We often associate the rainy season with damages, which is true, and the government has been making safety inspections from earlier this week. But for others, this is an opportunity to secure valuable water sources. South Korea, gets about half of all of its precipitation during the summer. And so the rain, it is important for water sources, securing those water sources, and also improving air quality. So experts actually put the first precipitation during the rainy season at about 50 to 150 billion won in value. I've never even thought about, the rainy season in terms of value, but that's what it is. So we may be annoyed by the rain and, like I said, all the hallmarks of a rainy season, especially ruining our weekend plans. But I think it kind of puts things into perspective. We need the rain, whether it be for our water sources and so many other things. And, farmers need rain as well. So this rainy season, let's be safe out there. And I'm talking about, securing things down, tying things down, making sure everything is safe. That's so important. And for a text topic, later on in hour number 2, we're going to have a special panel discussion on baseball. And that's in hour number 2 once again. So today, it's all about baseball. For a text topic, share with us your best baseball-related story or memory. 자, 나와 야구에 연관된 이야기 혹은 추억 나누는 시간을 가져볼 건데요. So send in your messages, your memories, your thoughts on baseball. Send them into BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform. To find our channel, type in BEFM 부산 영어 방송. You'll see our logo. Click on it to subscribe, and then you can log in to chat with our other waivers. Also, from your phone, pound 9050 샵 9050. That's going to cost you 101. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. To find us, type in BEFM or 부산 영어 방송. Same thing there. Add us as a friend first. And then you can send your messages. You can send us your photos as well. And the ways you can tune into our program. 90.5 or 103.3 FM. That's on the radio if you're in Busan. But like I said, we have listeners from all over, not just Korea, all over the world. You can check out our YouTube live feed right now. Or you can watch again at your leisure. We have 2 apps, the BEFM app and the Papang app, the latter of which you can check out the Wa글와글 segment. Today, it's Friday. It's a little different because for hour number 1, we have Casey. Casey coming in for Foreign Press Highlight. So that's going to remain the same. However, in hour number 2, once again, we're going to have a special session. It's called Talk Busan. And this is the baseball edition. So stay tuned for this in hour number 2. I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:05 and this is news overview. Cabinet passes 20.2 trillion won extra budget. The cabinet passed a second supplementary budget worth 20.2 trillion won yesterday and aimed at revitalizing domestic consumption and bolstering the economy, including the distribution of cash handouts to all citizens. Special counsel indicts ex-defense minister Kim Yong-hyun. Special counsel Jo Eun-suk, investigating former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law imposition, said yesterday that he has indicted former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun on charges of obstruction of official duties and abetting in evidence destruction. Japanese Prime Minister assesses meeting with Yi as positive. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said he had a good discussion with President Lee Jae-myung during their first summit in Canada earlier this week, noting that they aligned on shared views. Pentagon to apply 5% GDP defense spending to allies. The Pentagon said Thursday local time that South Korea and other Asian allies are also subject to the global standard of spending 5% of gross domestic product or GDP on defense. Trump to decide on U.S. involvement in Israel-Iran conflict in 2 weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump will decide if the U.S. gets directly involved in the Iran-Israel conflict within the next 2 weeks, as he believes there is a substantial chance of negotiations, according to the White House. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Hi there.
Yes, it's Friday, and we're talking about baseball. Do you have any baseball memories or any stories related to baseball?
I'm so sorry. I'm not much of a baseball fan. So
It's okay. You're forgiven.
I never been to baseball.
Yes. Ever?
Ever. Never.
Okay, so that's...
What about you?
For me, I have a real baseball story. It's related to baseball. It's actually softball. ball,
Tell me
which
about
is
it.
a slightly bigger ball, and it's, I think, slightly softer, but it's still really hard. I got hit in the eye. I remember my right eye during summer vacation of fourth grade. We were playing softball in my backyard with friends, and the next thing I remember, I wake up, there are lights, and then like everybody's looking at me. I was, my dad had carried me to my room because I had like blacked out because I got hit in the eye. Yes. And that friend's name, Benjamin. I still remember Benji.
And then you get a bruise.
Yeah, no, it was like literally so black for like 3 weeks. And then it kind of traveled south.
Right,
Like
it
the
goes
bruise,
down.
it was black and like purple. And then it started moving, migrating. And it turned like blue and then green and then yellow. It was so terrible. But that's my...
Sorry, I shouldn't
That's
be
my memory.
laughing, but I just... Yeah, it just comes
It's
out.
okay. I'm laughing about it now. Benji? Yes.
Benji.
It's
We're
okay.
coming for
He
you.
was a good friend. So let's jump into our first story. I hear that there's some good news for drivers in Busan. So what's this one about?
Here comes some good news for drivers in Busan. 수정산터널 will become toll-free in 2027.
Oh, really? So this is the one linking Chwacheon-dong and Gaya-dong, correct?
Yeah, that's the one. And the 수정산터널 has been a part of the Gwanmun-daero and operated as a public-private partnership road since it opened back in 2002.
Yes.
But the city confirmed that the tolls will be scrapped starting April 19th, 2027.
2027, which is like 2 years away. So the question is kind of like, why then? Why not now?
That's when that
Yes.
25-year private operation period officially ends.
Okay.
The local council just passed a motion agreeing to shift the tunnel into full public management without tolls.
So without tolls, I'm thinking that might make the traffic congestion like even heavier.
That's the concern. The city is
Yes.
expecting a short-term spike in congestion once it goes toll-free. So they're planning to improve intersection signals and alter the road layout to keep things flowing.
Oh, which is really important because we don't want like further congestion on any roads here in Busan. All right, what is next? What are we talking about?
The rainy season officially kicks off today, and Busan City is fully ready.
Yes. So, I mean, it's coming in like quick. I mean, like, overall, right?
Right. Both central and southern Korea will start seeing rain from today, according to the forecast. And the rain is likely to hit the whole country by the 21st, so tomorrow.
What is the city doing to prepare?
Busan held a final review meeting this week. And at a meeting, city officials agreed to ramp up emergency coordination teams and raise alert level for strong winds and add another about 800 CCTV cameras for real-time monitoring.
Okay, so it's good. It sounds like they don't want to take any chances.
Not at all. They are pinpointed 339 high-risk locations and will be paying special attention to 51 of them. So no worries. They've put in loads of safety measures, river barriers, emergency shelters, underground escape routes, and flood panels for the subway.
It sounds like a lot of ground to cover, though.
They've also cleared away risk structures like the temporary support on the Oncheon Bridge and the cover dam, which is Gamumagi in Dongchoon, and finished prevention work early at Myeongjang Park.
Well, what about people who live in those areas?
And just in case the weather gets worse, the city's got civilians workers on standby to help vulnerable residents evacuate if needed. If things get risky, they will shut down riverside path and underpasses early before the flooding starts.
Yeah, so let's hope that all that prep work, it does pay off, right?
Definitely better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. All right, what's our next item?
Right, here's something a bit futuristic from the education front.
Okay.
The city's education office is bringing in cooking robots into school kitchens.
Oh, robots into school kitchens. So it kind of sounds like an upgrade. What's the idea behind this?
So they're taking part in National Pilot Project to test out cooking robots in schools. They've teamed up with Korea Robotic and secured around 670 million won to run a trial and see if that really helps improve working conditions.
Okay, the question is this, so what exactly will these robots do? I mean, like chopping, plating, serving, what are they doing?
The robots they're bringing in can fry, stir fry, and make soups.
Oh.
And it's a custom model made for Busan schools. This will be the first time they're using fully electric cooking robots in the school kitchens here.
Okay.
They're hoping it will ease the workload for workers and help reduce the fumes that come with cooking.
Well, how many schools in Busan will get these robots?
3 schools will be getting them first. The superintendent Kim Seok-jun says this could really a game changer for the kitchen workers in school.
I see. I mean, wow. I'm sure the kids will get a kick out of it, but I'm also worried like, 그 손맛이 없어질까 봐요 because they're using robots, right? So we'll see what happens. We'll follow this story. Well, I hear that there is a massive streaming festival coming to Busan this summer.
Right, Busan is hosting Korea's biggest ever streaming event this August.
Yes.
It covers everything from OTT to esports.
So it sounds like a dream content for people who really love this kind of stuff. What's the event exactly?
Yes, it's called the International Streaming Festival.
Okay.
And it's the first time it's being held here in Busan. The event is running from August 22nd to 25th across venues like the Busan Cinema Center and Paradise Hotel Hyundai.
I see. And what can people actually do or see at this festival?
It's packed. There will be drama series, short-term content, variety shows, music, and esports all in one spot. There will be screening over 20 OTT titles, live concerts with music from drama soundtracks, and plenty of interactive sessions.
And let's talk about the main event.
That's the Global OTT Awards. They will be recognizing the best dramas, series, and shorts based on what's been streaming globally since last August.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Definitely good for a city. Thank you for all the updates locally, and we'll check in with you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Everybody, this was Hajin, and I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic and weather. It's congested from the Hwangyong Tunnel to the Dongseo overpass to the Kaegum Old Tollgate. And there is congestion on the Gwangan Bridge. That top portion, normally in the first 2 lanes, yes, congested as well. There's traffic on Gwanmun-daero from Pangnam Tunnel to Baegang Tunnel. And it's looking slow on Beonyeonglo going away from the city right around the Wondong ramp. Currently, it is 23 degrees Celsius, and some areas in Busan are cloudy, but we're also getting reports from our listeners that it is pouring right now. So the daytime high will go up to 25 degrees in Busan. Nationwide, the rain is coming down, especially in the central region. For the weekend, rainy weekend. Yes, that's what is in store for you, lasting through Sunday morning with similar temperatures as today. And this was your traffic and weather. This is Up All Night by Charlie Puth.
Well, I get a thrill run down my spine when I see you hitting me up. I'm feeling so electrified, like the heat of a million suns. You know, just one touch can keep me high, and I think I'll never come down till a couple days go by, and you know where to be found. Up all night, up all night. All the things that you said to me yesterday, playing over in my mind. It's a crime, it's a crime. How you reeling me in with the games you play, then you hang me out to dry. So I tried to shake you out my head, try to dance with somebody new, but you got those lips so red and that smoky voice you do. So I know it's pointless anyway, 'cause there ain't nobody else that could light me up so bright and break this crazy spell. Up all night, up all night. All the things that you said to me yesterday, playing over in my mind. It's a crime. said to me yesterday, playing over in my mind. It's a crime. It's a crime. How you reeling me in with the games you play, then you hang me out to dry. Up all night, up all night. All the things that you said to me yesterday, playing over in my mind. It's a crime, it's a crime. How you reeling me in with the games you play, then you hang me out to dry. How you reeling me in with the games you play, then you hang me out to dry.
It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Let's say good morning first. Hello.
Good morning.
It's our favorite day.
It's Friday.
Yay. And so, baseball. And by the way, you know, I've known Haley for a while. She's not like she's so good at everything, but she's not a huge fan of
When
sports.
I'm dumb. Is what
trying to be so nice about it.
You don't
Come
have to. You don't have to. Like that's what my parents tell me all the time. Like when you're dumb, you're really dumb. I'm like, thank you. You birthed me, so thanks for that.
Because you're smart in everything else. So it's like one area is okay.
Balance.
Yes.
So you know when other people watch sports, they're like, I could so do that better than them. When they get frustrated, I know for a fact I can't, especially when it comes to baseball. And this is my baseball memory.
Yes.
The year, I don't know, but I'm not going to tell you. I was in middle school. I think it was PE, softball, baseball. I still don't know the difference. Probably.
Yes.
The ball was, it doesn't, we're going to say baseball.
Underhand.
Because it's just going to make me look bad. So you know how you get tested? I hated getting tested in PE because no skills, but we had to bat. And the teacher she was formerly a softball player for a local university. She was pitching. I kept missing times 13 times. So I do proudly hold my school's record for the most missed swings. Yep. The worst at batting. So yeah, 13. So I know for a fact professional baseball players are professional for a reason. Yeah. So
now we know.
Go team.
All right. We're going to jump into our first story. The cabinet yesterday passed the 20.2 trillion won extra budget bill, which includes the so-called, I guess, spending coupons.
Right. 소비 coupon, so consumption coupons. Yes. So these are basically universal handouts aimed at reviving the economy. So there's a lot of attention over, and I mean, we had this conversation from last night to this morning within family, friends of so how much are we getting, when, and how. So this will be given out based on income level.
Okay.
So top 10% of income earners will receive 150,000 won, 15만 원. Quote-unquote average citizens, that's what the government's report said, 250,000 won. And then when we come down to the lower income families, 차상위층, 400,000 won. And then those on basic welfare, 기초수급자, 500,000 won. So it differs from 15만 원 to 50만 원, depending on your income level. Keep in mind that this money will not be given out in cash. So it's not going to be deposited into your account, but you will be able to choose between a prepaid card or a debit or a credit card, and it'll be given out in 2 separate payments.
Okay.
That's all we know for now. In terms of how are they going to determine the top 10%, is it going to be based on your income? Usually, not for this case for sure, but usually it's based on your health insurance payments because that's usually a good indicator of income. They will have to see about that. So a government task force will be launched soon to determine the specifics. Also, the government will issue a larger amount in local currency or local gift cards.
Yes.
And they will also establish, you talked about it earlier this week, this quote-unquote bad bank, which basically aims to forgive loans from small businesses that's been overdue for over 7 years at under 50 million won. So with this extra budget bill, and this is on top of the first extra budget from last month, the government total budget for this year actually comes to 702 trillion won. It's actually the first time that South Korea's government budget exceeded 700 trillion won.
I see.
And of course, that does involve a bigger debt for the country overall because the bulk of the funding for this extra budget bill will come from government bonds, 국채. So this is debt. So the government deficit will come to 101.4 trillion won from the previous 73.9 trillion won. However, the finance ministry said that while it is always keeping treasury sustainability in mind, however, the government needs to actively operate and execute its budget given the difficulty in the economy and the people's livelihoods.
I see. So I'm sure there will be further details on this. We'll report them to you. Well, the president is diving into some really other pressing domestic issues.
Right. So as soon as he came back early yesterday morning, he's presided over the cabinet meeting and also he is working on putting his actual cabinet together because the bulk of the ministers right now are from the previous administration. The government did receive nominations from the public. That period has ended, so they're in the process of getting that shortlist together. However, another issue is getting President Lee Jae-myung's pick for Prime Minister, Kim Min-seok, past the confirmation hearing because recently we've been seeing the opposition People Power Party really ramping up their attacks, and the presidential office is keeping a very close eye on public opinion.
I see. And, actually the government is cracking down on its own departments, right?
Right. So this particular government doesn't have a transition committee because of how it came into office.
Yes.
However, there's what's called a Presidential Committee on Policy Planning, 국정기획위원회, which kind of works as a transition committee. This week, they flat out criticized the reports it's received from the ministries, departments, and agencies. So the committee received its first report, 보고서, by the government agencies, and yesterday, the committee spokesperson 조승래 told the press, saying, in words, very disappointing. Right. And it's rare for the government to really attack its own to the public, but he stated that there was a lack of analysis or insight over pledges, lack of content, and it was basically a simple list of perfunctory old tasks that were submitted.
I see.
So he stated that this shows how far the public sphere has fallen over the last 3 years under the Yoon Suk-yeol administration and also the past 6 months of the martial law aftermath. So while the reporting period is scheduled to continue until today, and they will do so, Cho also said that the committee will actually have the departments go back and redo the reports and resubmit them.
I see. So that's the end of that story. And we're going to switch gears and talk about financial health. We often talk about the financial health of the country's healthcare system. This is important to us. One demographic that contributes to the financial soundness of the national health insurance is actually foreigners.
Right. So foreign nationals, because there's a myth that foreign subscribers, 외국인, to the national health insurance system, they lead to the fund's depletion. So people think they're actually spending more money than they're putting in. That's actually very false. And then for the first time this year, this is false across all nationalities. We'll get to that in a bit.
Okay.
But according to the National Health Insurance Corporation, for the past 8 years, foreign subscribers' finances have been in the black. So 흑자. They're making money for the health insurance. And actually, those financial gains are growing. So back in 2018, foreign subscribers, they pitched in collectively 225.5 billion won. That's jumped to 943.9 billion won last year.
Wow.
So huge number.
Yes.
So that means the entire sum that foreign subscribers paid into the national fund, even after the insurance payments went out, it was still, they wound up making more money for the insurance system.
Yes.
Broken down by nationality, Vietnamese nationals were at the top of this list with 120 billion won in the black, followed by Nepalese, American, and Cambodian nationals in that order.
Right. But a group that we always note because of the sheer number, the volume of, such foreigners are Chinese nationals.
And actually, and this is, fact based on government numbers, they have been the only non-Korean group that's been in the deficit, 적자, that is until this year. Actually, this most recent figure.
Yes.
So that has always been controversial because there was controversy of freeloading. But so in 2018 and 2019, Chinese insurance subscribers had recorded 150 billion won and 98 billion won in deficit, respectively. But in 2023, this deficit was significantly reduced to 2.7 billion.
Okay.
So they're changing the digits. And then last year, it was actually in the black. So 흑자 전환을 했습니다.
Okay.
So experts say that this is a result of policy changes by the government. So for example, from last April, this applies to all even Korean citizens who reside abroad, plus foreign nationals.
Yes.
They changed the rules that these individuals, they must have lived in South Korea for at least 6 months to qualify as a dependent, 피부양자. There are, of course, exceptions for underage children and spouses, but
Yes.
this is seen to have really brought in the soundness of financial health.
Well, that's definitely good for the national
Yeah.
health insurance. Whether you're a Korean national, foreign national residing in Korea, it's meant to benefit everybody. So thank you for reporting on this. Moving on, the U.S. has resumed its student visa interviews, but now the application process involves, as we told you before, a social media review.
It's official. It's
Okay.
finally happened. The United States, they have previously suspended taking in new U.S. student visa interviews, but the State Department on Wednesday local time said it is restarting the process. However, all applicants, will now be required to unlock their social media accounts for government review.
Oh, yes. So can you give us details of how this may unfold?
Right. So it seems that if you are trying to apply for a U.S. student visa, you will need to set your social media account to public. So in the State Department notice, it says that to facilitate the vetting process,
Yes.
applicants will be asked to adjust their private settings to public. And also in an internal guide to the consular officials, the department said they should be looking for any indications of hostility towards American citizens, culture, government institutions, or founding principles of the United States. This is very specific, but also very vague, because
Right.
what would hostilities entail? I mean, obviously threats, but if you say, for example, like the U.S., like LA has such bad traffic, which is true.
It's true, but
So
is that
true.
hostile?
That could be hostile depending on what expletive you put in there.
Yes.
Right. So very vague. So, I mean, freedom of speech issues aside, if you are
Yes.
applying for a student visa, you probably want to err on the side of caution. Also, there are reports saying that consuls may ask you if your profile is not public. Why not? If you don't have a social media account. Also, you may be asked, well, why don't you have a social media presence? So you might be asked all sorts of questions. Of course, this is already under criticism. For example, an official at Columbia University, which, keep in mind, has been at odds with the Trump administration,
Yes.
said that the new policy evokes ideological vetting during the Cold War era. So, right, so definitely changes, but keep that in mind.
Right, because we want you to be better informed to prep you in case
The
this
visa
applies to you.
process is honestly nerve-wracking to begin with as someone who's gone through it. So just,
Be in the know. Well, in the opening, I talked about how South Korea's rainy season is changing because of these sporadic rains. And this is part of the larger whole climate change issue, too.
Right. So let's talk about this larger climate change issue. The most important number when we talk about the rise in global temperatures, 1.5, right?
Yes.
This is the this is the task to cap the rising temperatures, the average temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius to the pre-industrial revolution times. Well, according to some of the world's most leading climate scientists, we have 3 years. 3 years maximum left in reaching this goal. By reaching, of course, I don't mean exceeding, but capping this below 1.5. So at the beginning of 2020, scientists estimated that humanity could only emit 500 billion more tons of carbon dioxide or CO2, with a 50% chance of keeping that warming to within 1.5 degrees. But at the start of this year, the so-called carbon budget, what we're allowed to emit, that actually shrank to 130 billion tons. So we are working with a tighter budget.
Yes.
So, and with that 130 billion tons of carbon dioxide emitted, the world roughly has 3 years until we exhaust this so-called carbon budget. And by the way, we have reported several times that we have seen the global average air temperatures exceed by more than 1.5. Scientists don't just look at 1 year, but again, average, so we really want to keep that in mind.
Yes. Thank you for covering this and, of course, all the stories. And wishing you a wonderful weekend. But, of course, we'll have you for Waga Waga in hour number 2 as well. So we'll see you real soon.
Yep, see you in a bit.
Yes. I almost thought it was hour number 2, but it's not. It's still hour number 1. Let's get to our song. This is New Rules by Dua Lipa.
Talking in my sleep at night, making myself crazy. Out of my mind, out of my mind. Wrote it down and read it out, hoping it would save me. Too many times, too many times. My love, he makes it feel like nobody else, nobody else. But my love, he doesn't love me, so I tell myself. Don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's f***ing alone. 2, don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. 3, don't be his friend, you know you're gonna f*** in the morning. You ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, pushing forwards, but he keeps pulling me backwards. Nowhere to turn, nowhere to turn. Now I'm standing back from it. I finally see the pattern. I never learned from my love. He doesn't love me, so I tell myself, I do. 1, don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling cause he's f***ing alone. 2, don't let him in. Kick him out again. 3, don't be his friend. In the morning, you ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules. Practice makes perfect. I'm still trying to learn it, but eat, sleep, and breathe it, rehearse and repeat it, 'cause 1, don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling 'cause he's f***ing alone. 2, don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. 3, don't be his friend, in the morning. You ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I count him. I got no rules, I got no rules, I count him. I got no
It is time for Foreign Press Highlights. We have Casey in the house. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
How are you? Are you enjoying? Is it what's it like outside?
I got rained on the way here.
Oh, really? Was it like?
It wasn't like hard rain. It was just like intermittent rain. Yeah,
Okay,
on my
okay.
bike. Yeah. And I was like, it was too late to change plans and take the subway. So I was like, all right, here we go.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's not my favorite way to travel, but so be careful. Yes, everyone out there,
Yes,
be careful.
yes.
If you're on 2 wheels, especially.
Oh.
Yes.
Be careful.
Yeah, you need more braking distance.
Yes.
that in
Actually, that's
mind.
like a good PSA from Casey.
There you go.
Like, keep a safe distance, but even more so today when
Yes.
it's raining. So today we're talking about baseball, yagu.
Yeah.
I want to hear any like fun stories, good or bad.
My mind, I don't know if it's like a Long Island thing that I always go to the bed, but you're like, do you have any memories of baseball? I was like, oh, yes.
Okay.
I used to play baseball when I was, I guess, elementary school to middle school.
Oh.
And I was often the pitcher.
Oh, really? Casey, you were the pitcher?
I was. I
You
was.
must have been so popular.
No, that didn't work out. But I remember playing a game. I couldn't tell you what age I was, but I remember discussions about needing a cup for sports.
Oh, just to explain. Okay, and we're not going to get too graphic.
It's
but
just protective gear.
It's protective
for
gear
boys.
for that area for boys because,
That's right.
if you get hit by a ball.
It's not good.
Yeah. Pain.
And
Pain ensues.
And I didn't know what to think about that. So I was like, okay, sure, yeah. But I didn't have one.
Okay.
And I was pitching one game, and the catcher threw the ball back to me.
Oh, no.
And it was
low.
And I caught it, but I kind of caught it in
that area?
In that area. And I had to I lost my breath. It felt like the wind got knocked out of me. And everybody's waiting for me to pitch.
Oh my
the next
gosh.
pitch.
How
and I was just
embarrassing
so I don't know how it felt to me like an hour that I was standing
I
there.
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're representing all the males out there.
Go ahead.
Why do guys hit other people's behind or the back, the lower back?
I
when
wouldn't-
they
I
get
don't,
hit?
I don't do that.
But I've seen it in Korea.
Sure.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I think it's supposed to be hey bro, we're in this thing together.
Or I was thinking maybe
camaraderie.
or to take their mind off the pain in the front, in the back.
Okay.
distract?
I misunderstood. So if somebody gets injured that way,
that way. I see it all the time.
No.
They do that on the back.
don't do that to me. I will probably be ready to fight. Don't do that to me.
Support system is what she said.
I totally misunderstood.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, because in baseball you often see that kind of,
Not
friendly
just the
gestures.
friendly gesture, but I'm saying when you get hit there.
Right.
I've seen it all the time. They're doubled up in pain, and then other guys are patting them on their butt. I'm like,
oh yeah, don't
what's
do that
about?
to me. This is
Stay away
another
from Casey.
PSA. Yes, another PSA. Do not leave me alone.
Okay, got it. Okay,
Yes.
maybe other guys can chime in because I have no idea. I'm not a
No,
guy.
don't touch me.
Yes. Okay.
Do not touch. Yeah, that's the worst time to yeah.
But thank you for your baseball story. Now we know.
What a story.
Yes. We're going to jump into our first story for Foreign Press Highlights. What's this one and where's it from?
Okay, well, yeah, I have my mind has to make that transition.
Yes.
Here we go. We're going to talk about art, and actually, both stories are kind of about art today in a way.
Oh.
I wanted to ask this first. Do you post stuff on social media sometimes?
Sometimes.
Do you
I
ever-
do,
okay.
but very infrequently.
Me too.
Yeah.
Do you ever did you ever imagine if I post this, what if somebody uses this? Or what if somebody wants to use? Did you ever have that thought?
No, because my settings are on private.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Yeah.
But I've never really thought of that. Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
Oh.
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Sure.
This was a story in CNN this week. And the headline is South Korean artist Mocha Lee is turning strangers' Insta posts into portraits. And have you actually ever heard of her, Mocha Lee?
No, but I'm thinking, thank goodness I have it on private.
I know. That was I was like, ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah. So basically, in the story, they say, for a lot of us, when we start that scroll, it's just kind of like we're killing time. But for Mocha Lee, she says that's the main source of inspiration for her portrait paintings.
Wow.
Some of which have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars now. And she says, basically, I can observe countless people with just my phone without meeting them. And I wait to find something unique in the pictures that I come across by chance through the algorithm. And I was like, oh man, that just makes me feel like I'm wasting my time when I'm looking. I should be capitalizing on this.
Right, I could be inspired to do something with it,
I'm
right?
never inspired. And sometimes I'm inspired by the food things, like, ooh, that looks good. But yeah,
Yeah, and then you save.
yeah,
for
and then
later.
nothing ever happens
Right.
with it. But yeah, I was just thinking, a lot of us waste our time with that, but she's not wasting her time.
Apparently. Well, are people okay with her painting, their image from social media?
Yeah, so she says when she finds an immigraph, interesting new word.
Image.
An image that she likes.
Immigraph.
Yes. I want to copyright that. She contacts the people by DM, and she's like, hey,
Okay.
can I buy the rights to your image? And she's got a representative here in Seoul, a gallery there. His name is Jason Ham, and he says basically that her relationship with her subjects reflect how human interaction has changed over time. And I was like, all right, let's get deep. He gives an example. A Mona Lisa, for example.
Yes.
There would have to be a real person sitting in front of the artist for hours on end, if not
Yes.
more. But now she just like DMs people that she's never met. She's like, "Hi, I'd like to paint your portrait. I'll pay you this amount of money," and they never have to even see each other.
I love the idea of her getting permission, and we have a visual on our YouTube page. Like the fact that she always gets permission.
What you're
at first,
seeing
like I
is-
was gonna say, without permission, I would be iffy on that. But she's reaching out to them directly, so it's okay.
And the one we've got up now, it's called Surface Tension 7, and it's going to be exhibited by the London Gallery Carlos Ishikawa at the Art Basel Fair in Switzerland. So it's around the world now. Her work is everywhere. But if you look at that, it's like, do you think that girl like planned on being seen in art galleries?
No, and she looks so genuinely happy.
Yeah, maybe that was the attraction.
Right.
So basically, she says she'll like scroll and then she'll find something that catches her attention. Like, oh, I want to use this, and then reach out to the person.
Right.
Would you ever say yes if somebody direct messaged you and be like, "Hey, I saw your picture"?
Depends on the photo.
Oh, that's true,
I mean,
right?
let's be honest. If it was a good photo, maybe.
But still, maybe, right?
Oh, and then our producer wants to know, 얼마 주나요?
Oh,
You're
well,
so
yeah.
materialistic, 예지PD.
No, I mean, that's a good question. They didn't mention that in the article whatsoever.
How much?
But if you think about it, like she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars now. I wonder if that affects how much like she feels is right to pay to people.
Right,
Because
or-
when she started, she probably wasn't making that much money.
I'm sure.
And she was probably like, "Hey, how about 5,000원? What do you think? I don't know. But I'm sure that she has to adjust that.
Oh,
and I'm
how
sure.
much? How much if somebody offered you, let's say, 10만 원, 100,000 won, Casey, can I use your photo?
No, I don't think so.
What if I said $1 million?
A million won? Yes. All right, let me do the.
No.
I got an answer for me. My
We need to-
representative will be contacting you.
Yes, my agency.
My agent, yeah, right.
Yes.
Oh man, $1 million won. So that's like
백만 원.
$1,000.
Still no?
It sounds low. I mean, think about it. Like if you have the potential to be shown in galleries around the world, like
I see.
I don't know, but again, it depends on who is contacting you, right? So, and they do say in the article, like originally she said people used to reject her a lot, but now she's made a name for herself. So
True.
it's a lot easier to get people to agree. And, one reason people agree, she made the Artsy's Vanguard list for this year, and that highlights 10 promising contemporary artists around the world. So she's like moving up in the ranks. She's only 28 too, by the way.
Wow. That's
she's
young.
Yes, she looks very young. Yes, there's a picture in the article I didn't include, but yeah, it's like, wow. Yeah, she looks like a student.
Yes. So, do most people say yes? Because, you're kind of on the maybe not so, and on the other end of the spectrum, we have like our producer saying yes. Like,
Well, you would do it for sure?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure,
wow.
why not?
I would. I would not. But yeah, she says because of her popularity, a lot more people are saying yes these days. And I think one reason is because she's got a really interesting technique. It's hard to tell when you see pictures, online or in a book even.
Sure.
You have to go see them in person. But basically, she uses oil paint. And she said she had to use that to break into overseas markets. And I was like, it's that's something I didn't know either.
Right.
But she uses what she calls Asian techniques with oil paint. So she builds up layers of paint over a long, long time. And that gives her a unique look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting as to how, she goes about doing it, the content. So
Yeah,
where
check it out.
can we see her paintings?
She's got stuff coming up. Like I said, the one we looked at, that's going to be coming up at Art Basel, Switzerland this year. She's been shown Art Basel, if you're not familiar, or Basel, if you prefer. If you're not familiar, there's like big art markets that are around the world.
Yes.
So she's doing that. She's got stuff in London as well. And basically, if you want to buy one of her paintings, you better pony up because she sold one last year for $200,000 at Hong Kong at an auction. That's a record price for an artist in at this age, in the age of 20s in South Korea. So there you go.
And our producer she raised her price.
Yeah, but
100만 원 갖고는 안 돼요, she says.
Yeah, right.
Like,
so you have to consider like how much is going to be made off of that. How many people are going to see this, right? It's a little back and forth.
Our Haley says, don't accept a flat rate. Sign for a ratio of whatever the artist makes.
See?
We need her doing the negotiating.
This is how the mind works, right?
Yes,
the wheels
yes.
start turning like, well, how much money potentially could be
Yes.
made off of me? Yeah, I mean, but that's all fair to think about.
Yes. Well, let's move on to our second story. Is
Sure.
it art related, like you said?
It's like performance art.
Okay, that's
yeah.
art.
So yeah, totally. And it takes, like, Mocha Lee's work takes a lot of time and dedication and unique style. So does the circus. The circus takes a lot of time and dedication. Have you actually ever been to the circus here in Korea?
In Korea,
Yeah.
that's like one of the last memories I have before I emigrated to California.
Yeah.
Is going.
really?
Yeah. It
Going
was
to
like,
the circus?
but it was like ages ago.
Sure.
And like I just have like little like snippets of memory.
Right.
And I do remember going to the circus, and I remember a clown, and I was terrified. So
sounds about right.
my mom bought me cotton candy, and I was scared of the cotton.
Oh.
So
There's
I
a
was,
lot
like,
of fear
crying.
involved. We have terrible memories.
I think
Terrible
it's because,
memories about
like,
baseball,
of, like,
circus.
vaccinations. I don't know. I was just like I was scared of cotton swabs. I don't know. But anyhow,
So not a pleasant memory.
no, not of the circus. Why are we talking about the circus?
Because actually there's only one circus in Korea.
Oh.
And it's turning 100 this year.
Oh, really?
And it's all about, and this is from the Associated Press, and it's all about why there's only one circus, and basically South Korea's last circus, Dongchoon, holds up as it marks centennial. So it's about the future of the circus and kind of the history as well. And have you ever heard of the Dongchoon circus
I'll be
troupe?
honest, no.
Me neither.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting information about South Korea's only circus. Park Se-won is the head of the 100-year-old circus. And he says in the article, and they've got pictures and a short video interview as well. He says, as I recall the hardship that I've gone through, I think I've done something significant. But also I feel heavy responsibility because if Dongchoon stops, our country's circus, one genre in our performing arts will disappear. That's the problem. So he feels like there's a lot of pressure to keep it going.
Right.
Because if it's gone, that's it. There's no circus left here in Korea.
But I'm sure, like, through the years, like, there have been issues with, I don't know about this particular circus, but other circuses where people were questioning kind of the intent, the purpose, and also the if there are animals, about the whole that issue as well, right?
That changed, yeah. They used to have animals. They do not anymore.
Exactly.
No animals at all.
Right.
Yeah. Is there any circus that has animals anymore? I'm
I
not
hope
sure.
not, because like this is a different era, like a
Right.
different, more modern time. So
Right.
Hopefully not.
And they do talk about that in the article. Like they say in the 60s was like the golden age for circuses here in South Korea. And it was basically related to like what other forms of entertainment there were.
Sure.
Like TV wasn't a thing at everybody's house yet.
Right. Definitely didn't have the internet.
No internet.
Right.
Right. So there was like basically not a lot of competition for the circus. And yeah, it was popular then. But as you say, times have changed.
Right. So do they have like acrobats? Because what I do
They do.
love about like circus is
Yeah.
like the amazing feats they accomplish, like acrobats.
But that's changed as well. So they have, at one time they mentioned in the article, they had like 50 acrobats, all South Korean.
Yes.
Now they have 35 acrobats, all Chinese. And that's changed as well.
That's really changed.
So they said basically like, they said this job, the circus job, is generally shunned by more affluent South Koreans who consider it too dangerous and too low paying.
I see.
But they do say they've also changed what they expect to have for acrobats to do. They say they've removed a lot of the too risky things.
Okay.
Because people don't even want to see that anymore.
I know, because like once in a while you hear about like the Cirque du Soleil thing.
Yeah.
And like about accidents, and like we definitely don't want to hear about that.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
so expectations have changed, but it's still going.
How interesting, so different, but both related to art.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
for
very
bringing these
South
stories
Korean
in.
art. Yeah.
Yes. We'll check in with you next week. So take care and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Casey.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that wraps up hour number 1. Remember, coming up in hour number 2, we have Talk Busan, the baseball edition. So we're going to continue our discussion about baseball. In the meantime, here's a song request from Taejin. This is 사랑하기 때문에 by 김필 and 곽진원. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
느낀 그대 눈빛은 혼자만의 오해였던가요. 해맑은 미소로 나를 도로 만들었어 내 곁을 떠나가던 날 가슴에 품었던 분홍빛에 수많은 추억들이 푸르게 바래졌어 어제는 떠난 그대를 잊지 못하는 내가 미웠죠 하지만 이제 깨달아요 그대만의 나였음을 다시 돌아올 그대 위해 내 모든 것 드릴 테요 우리 이대로 영원히 헤어지지 않으리 나 오직 그대만을 사랑하기 때문에 커다란 그대를 향해 작아져만 가는 나이기에 그 무슨 뜻이라 해도 조용히 따르리요 어제는 지난 추억을 잊지 못하는 내가 미웠죠
따로 사는 가족을 위해 가족가라 KT 따로 살아도 가족가라
따로 살아도 가족이니까 인터넷, TV, 부모님 댁과 결합하고 추가 할인 받으세요. KT 따로 살아도 가족 결합. 추가 할인이 궁금하다면 KT 매장 또는 100번.
선을 하나 넘었을 뿐인데 익숙한 세상이 아름답게 다가옵니다. 야외 조각 공원과 함께 세계 각국 초청 작가들의 전시가 지그재그 아트센터에서 당신을 기다립니다. 예술은 직선을 걷지 않는다. 지그재그 아트센터.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
During the summer monsoon season, Korea is often met with heavy rainfalls. Various accidents including landslides and building collapses due to weak grounds may occur during this time. So here are some tips that could keep you safe from long and wet monsoon season in Korea. First, regularly check and maintain water and drainage channels. Second, fix objects that could be blown away by severe wind, such as boards, TV networks, and others. Third, residents who live near areas prone to landslides, flooding, and sinkholes should be aware of the location of a nearby shelter as directed by authorities. And lastly, be aware of getting electric shocks. Always take preventive measures when using electric appliances to protect against electric shocks. Above all, staying informed of what to do is the most important. Tune in to BEFM Busan 영어방송 for emergency broadcast. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM Busan 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is our number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan, and this is Spotlight News. Cabinet passes 20.2 trillion won extra budget. The cabinet passed a second supplementary budget worth 20.2 trillion won yesterday, aimed at revitalizing domestic consumption and bolstering the economy, including the distribution of cash handouts to all citizens. To spur private consumption, the government will inject 10.3 trillion won to provide consumption coupons ranging from 150,000 to 500,000 won per person, depending on income levels, the ministry said. The president said, the spokesperson said that the current economic downturn calls for an active role of the government. The opposition, People Power Party or PPP, denounced the extra budget as a spectacular debut of a populist regime. Special Counsel indicts ex-defense minister Kim Yong-hyun. Special Counsel Cho Eun-suk investigating former President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law imposition said yesterday that he has indicted former Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun on charges of obstruction of official duties and abetting an evidence destruction. Kim has been under arrest since December 27th and is standing trial on charges of insurrection for recommending martial law to Yoon and drafting the decree. The additional indictments came 2 days after Kim appealed a conditional bail decision sought by the prosecution and granted by a court in an apparent bid to win unconditional release when his 6-month arrest expires June 26th. Japanese Prime Minister assesses meeting with Yi as positive. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said that he had a good discussion with President Lee Jae-myung during their first summit in Canada earlier this week, noting that they aligned on views with shared issues. Ishiba made the remark at an event in Tokyo held to celebrate the 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations with South Korea, saying that the summit on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada was very productive, and the two had aligned their views for the stable development on relations. At the event, Ishiba stressed the need to continue close communication to ensure a stable development of ties based on what the two countries have built so far. Pentagon to apply 5% GDP defense spending to allies. The Pentagon said Thursday local time that South Korea and other Asian allies are also subject to the global standard of spending 5% of gross domestic product GDP on defense, a proposal that U.S. President Donald Trump has put forward for European allies. The remarks come amid speculation that Trump might call for a rise in South Korea's defense expenditures or its share of the cost for stationing the 28,500-strong U.S. forces Korea, as his administration is prioritizing deterring an increasingly assertive China. South Korea's defense spending stands at around 2.5% of its GDP. Trump to decide on U.S. involvement in Israel-Iran conflict in 2 weeks. U.S. President Donald Trump will decide if the U.S. gets directly involved in the Iran-Israel conflict within the next 2 weeks, as he believes there is a substantial chance of negotiations, according to the White House. Pundits say this could be a window for diplomacy, as Iran and Israel have been exchanging further strikes, including Iran's strike of a hospital in Israel. Israel's defense minister said that the Iran's supreme leader can no longer be allowed to exist. The Iranian government has imposed a nationwide internet shutdown described as the worst ever in the country's history of internet control. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for Wagga Wagga, which means Haley's back.
Good morning again.
Yes. So we're going to have a shortly abbreviated version because we have Talk Busan coming up real soon. But of course, we want to get into the Woggly stories. This first story is about safety for young children. So a 2-year-old had to undergo emergency surgery after he swallowed, pause, 33 magnets?
Pause for dramatic effect, because kids will put anything and everything into their mouths.
Yes.
So the parents of a 23-month-old boy, so not even 2 years old yet, saw that their son was choking on something, and he just happened to have toy magnets in his hand. The parent rushed him to the hospital, and the doctors, after X-ray and CT scans, found multiple magnets tangled up in his small intestine.
Oh my gosh.
In such a case, there's a risk of organ damage because magnets, due to their nature, will travel to stick to each other.
Yes.
And then also then put multiple pressure on multiple parts of the organs at the same time, basically puncturing holes in the intestine, said the doctors. And this, unfortunately, is what happened. So this team at Gyeongyang University Hospital, they performed emergency surgery to remove the magnets. He indeed had holes and damages to his intestines. And the doctors, when they were done, had removed 33 magnets, had to cut out about 10 centimeters of the damaged organs. Thankfully, him being very young, fast recovery, and he's actually healthy and out of the hospital.
Yes, and this particular story is really shocking. But, these kind of stories, they're rare, but they're not they pop up.
They do, because once again, kids will put everything in their mouths, and if things are small enough, they can swallow them. So according to the Korea Consumer Agency, there were about 2,000 ingestion or swallowing accidents, 이물 삼킴이나 흡입사고, between the years of 2019 and 2023.
Yes.
And this number is actually going up every single year. And by the way, 82% of these accidents, of course, involved small children, 1 through 6. And almost half the objects they swallowed were toys. And that is why most toys will have an age recommendation and a choking hazard sign. So it is important that we do abide by them.
Yes.
Experts also warn about dangers of not only magnets, but also batteries, especially those lithium, the little coin, the circular shaped ones that come into the singing and the light up toys, because they do have screws into the battery compartment, but sometimes kids have such tiny fingers, they have attached on screws Phillips heads on their hands anyways. So
Right.
kids they have ways of getting to them. So the round batteries, they tend to get lodged in the throat because of the shape and size or the esophagus. And in that case, that can actually cause electric burns down their throat, again, causing holes that can be life-threatening. So most foreign objects, good news, they do pass through the body naturally, so all you have to do is check the diaper. However, again, for cases like magnets, batteries, sharp objects, do take them to the hospital.
Absolutely. And yeah, just we had a rule in our family, just nothing, no magnets. Because kids shove things in their nose and swallow.
Point things up their nose too. That's also a popular opening.
Orifice, yes.
Yeah.
Next story. Millionaires specifically, how many millionaires are there in South Korea? I saw this headline.
They're so rich.
Yeah.
So many people are rich.
Not
yeah.
us.
No, I'm just,
that was
that's
pause.
it. That's it. So many people are rich.
Not us.
I'm done. So
Yes.
South Korea came in 10th in the world in terms of how many millionaires, 백만장자, we have. And I know some people will be like, well, in this economy, a millionaire is like an apartment. But I'm like, well,
still.
If you want to give me your millions, I will gladly take. So this is according to the Swiss bank UBS Global Wealth Report.
Yes.
There were 1,301,000 South Koreans who had over $1 million in assets. And that is, at least according to when this report came out, 1,375,000,000 won. 13억 7,500만 원입니다. And this is the first time that South Korea has surpassed 1.3 million people in terms of millionaires. So not surprisingly, the country at the very top of the list, by far, the United States of America, 23,837,000 millionaires living in the U.S. Actually, just last year, the U.S. added 379,000 new millionaires. That, if you do the math, that is over 1,000 people who newly became millionaires every day.
Every
There are
day?
365 days and 379,000. U.S. residents accounted for more than half of all new millionaires that were created across the globe last year. So this surge in American millionaires, why are so many of them so rich?
Yes.
Stock market. Stock market returns, the S&P 500 jumped by over 23% last year. Second place, again, not surprisingly, China, 6.32 million millionaires, about a quarter of the figure from the U.S. This was followed by France, Japan, Germany, and the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So overall, the world has 60 million millionaires, and they collectively own $226.4 trillion. It was a rich year last year. Globally, a total of 680,000 people became new millionaires last year. And this figure, people are just going to get richer. UBS expects this figure to keep growing for the next 5 years. By 2029, projecting an additional 5.34 million people. So yeah, hopefully by then, one of those will be us.
Can we combine all our assets?
It's all the waivers, pool our money together.
Yes.
And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for going over the Woggly stories and have a beautiful weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Have a great weekend.
Everybody, this is Haley. And we're going to be back with Talk Busan after this song break. This is 봄날은 간다 by Chaori.
아직까지도
부산 갈매기 너는 조명 나를 잊었나
All right, everybody, as you heard, it is baseball season. And the thing is this, if you have ever been to Busan or if you reside in Busan or if you've heard of Busan, you would know that the Lotte Giants, the local team, so popular regardless of how they're doing. They're always popular. Anyhow, ever since the foundation of this team in 1982, the Lotte Giants have been one of the longest serving KBO teams in the country with its, in its original iteration. Some of the teams, they go through changes, they get different sponsors, their team names change. And for over 4 decades, the fans have been with the Lotte Giants through thick and thin. Why am I talking about all of this? I'm super excited because we've been talking this up. We have a very special broadcast for you here on Morning Wave in Busan. This is called Talk Busan. And today, you guessed it, it's the baseball edition. Yes, so this morning, it's all about baseball. And I know with kind of like the inclement weather, it doesn't really go. But even yesterday, some of you, I know some of our waivers out there, you've been sending in photos. You guys actually went to the game. Andrew, are you listening? I know Andrew, he was like posting all day. Not Andrew Millard, our sports guy, Andrew. He was at the game yesterday with his kiddies. And Taejin, he sent in a photo. I don't know if we're going to have time to share it later on. He went with his daughter, his lovely daughter, sending in photos. So we appreciate that. So the good news is the Lotte Giants apparently in third right now. Okay, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. It seems this season, the fans, they are just doing everything to support this local team. And, this team, to go back a little bit, really first to reach 1 million home game spectators in a single season. That was in 1991. Some of you were not even born in 1991 when this happened. And this then broke its own record in 2009 with the most spectators at 1.38 million. So that's pretty amazing. And then we have the big names like Choi Dong-won and Lee Dae-wook engraved in the hearts of the Lotte Giants fans. So this is our special for this month. And we have invited 4 experts for a roundtable discussion on topics near and dear to our city of Busan. And the thing is this. Oh, excuse me. That's my cup. This obviously is not just about, if they're baseball experts, but experts in their own line of work. So, by the way, this program was created with funding from Busan Metropolitan City's Regional Broadcast Development and Support Program. So we need to, of course, let everybody know. Without further ado, let's meet our panel of experts. So first, we have in the studio, I'm sure you see many, many people, and you're probably shocked right now, our viewers right now. We have Ms. Kim Kyung-nim. We call her Lima. She's the CEO of Hwa Studio. So let's say hi to her first. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
Hi.
yes. So she's going to be covering baseball and sports from a content and media perspective. And then we have to my right, this is Jason Lee, who is an English sportscaster for the KBO. Clearly, for today, our sports experts. So welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And then we have Professor Sean O'Malley. And some of you might recognize his voice or his name. He's from Dongseo University. Welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me, Catherine. Great to be here.
I know. It's been years, but I mean...
It has been a while.
Yes, yes. And then, of course, we have Professor Andrew Millard, not sports guy Andrew, but Professor Andrew Millard from Changwon National University. So welcome back as well.
Good morning. I could be the sports guy if you want me to.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Andrew Murphy. Watch out.
Oh, both
Andrew Millard.
Andrew M's.
Yes.
Oh,
AM, yes. So, our 2 respective professors, they're going to be offering their academic international take on, of course, how sports can shape the world. So I want to ask all of you, and of course, jump right in when you can. Do you have any personal story, any attachment to the local team? I'm going to begin with Sean. Can I call you Sean? Do I have to call you Professor?
No.
Okay.
Sean is great.
Sean,
yeah.
okay. So Sean, because you're wearing the Lotte Giants cap, so I mean, can we get your personal take on the Lotte Giants?
Sure, yeah. Love them. They're great, you know. Been a fan for a long time.
Yes.
I became a fan really when I moved into Busan, which was back in 2008. And back then, you probably remember Bobby McGill, who had started Busan Haps. And so Bobby started working with the Lotte Giants to have player meet and greets and such. And so we got to go to one of those, met some of the players, met the manager at that time, Jerry Royster, who was with them from 2007 to 2010. And, you know, would run into players and Jerry, if he doesn't mind me calling him that, around town, you know, every now and again at different locations and get to talk baseball. And it was a really great time to be a fan with all of the connections that the team was really trying to build with the community at the time.
Right. I'm going to turn to Andrew. Is it true that, like, you live around Sajik?
So I used to.
You used to?
Similar to Sean. So when I first came to Busan, which was 2006, I lived in Sajikdong. So I lived right next to what is now it's a wedding hall. It used to be a funeral home, which is a little more depressing.
Yes.
But it's literally a few hundred meters away from the stadium. So to be honest, I'm from England. We didn't really have baseball in England.
Right.
But from the second I moved to Busan, all I could hear from sort of the end of March to end of sort of September was these big cheers. So I used to go to the Sajik Stadium quite a lot. Not really for the baseball, to be honest.
But
more for the social aspect.
The 분위기.
The 분위기, that's right, for the atmosphere. A few beers, a bit of chicken. Some potatoes in sugar or salt, whatever it is, which I've always found weird.
Weird, right?
I don't really get that part. But no, for me, Busan, from the second I've lived in Busan, baseball has always been a part of my life here.
Thank you for sharing.
Those cheers were only up until September. It never seemed to be loud in October.
They've never gone longer
anything
than
like that, though.
Oh, pain.
Or it was the other team.
Pain. What about for you, Lima? Any connection to baseball or the Lotte Giants? And if not, it's fine too.
Well, to be honest,
Yes.
I am from Busan, born in Busan, and grew up in Busan. And I went to Canada. I lived for a long time. Actually, I went to baseball stadium only twice. Once when I was in high school, because back then it was really, really high and Lotte was pretty good. And it was like I remember one year, it was a huge thing. And I went there with my friends after, skipping school in the evening yaja.
Okay.
Back then.
Yes.
And then I went. The second time was actually last Tuesday, because I was.
How did you get
expected to
tickets?
it was actually a rough story. It was hard. I had to line up to get that 현장 ticket, like that day.
On site, right?
Yeah, on site. It was kind of competitive, but
I'm
it
sure.
wasn't too bad because it was weekday.
Okay.
And too bad Lotte lost that day.
Oh, that day?
But it was fun.
I'm sure.
So brought a lot of memories.
Yes. And now I want to turn to Jason because I know that you cover baseball. That's what you do. But any connection to the Lotte Giants at all, or anything you can tell us about them?
Well, as you mentioned, I've actually had a chance to do quite a bit of play-by-play for the KBO, and I actually started right here with BEFM with the Lotte Giants at Sajik Stadium. Shout out to Kane Mason and Eric McLee, who were my color commentators.
Yes.
So certainly a great experience. It kind of got me started off in play-by-play for the league before working with other companies as well. But definitely being at Sajik Stadium, it is a different atmosphere from other stadiums. I think the unified chants of the crowd cheering for Lotte is different, certainly compared to if you're at Chamsil Stadium.
Yes.
And the crowd is usually split half and half, or maybe 60-40.
Sure.
But when it's 90-10, maybe 95-5 here in Busan at Sajik, it's definitely a different atmosphere and a lot of fun to watch.
I'm sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So you just mentioned the chants there. So I've only ever been a baseball here in Busan, but of all the different teams and stadiums, is there a favorite chant that you have?
One of my favorites back in the day was when Kareem Garcia was actually a player for the Lotte Giants, and his
a long time ago.
Oh yeah, this was must be about 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, and I actually
more like 15.
something like that.
Kareem was here in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Season.
So his cheer was something like Garcia, Garcia, and I just remember that was one of the first cheers that I heard back in the day, and it was really catchy.
Wow.
So it was one of those things where I think when you go to a stadium in Korea and every player has their own cheer, not every cheer is easy to pick up after the first time you hear it. That was definitely one where when he came up to bat the second time up, we were all cheering along with everybody else.
Wow. I mean, I remember personally, I grew up in LA, so going to like the LA Dodgers game, that was amazing, but it was just like Dodger dogs, like enjoying the concession stand. And it wasn't like as personal or personable even, like that personal attachment to every single player. It's so different, the vibes from, I mean, bless the LA Dodgers, I love them, but I mean, so different from the Lotte Giants, I would have to say.
I think the comparison that you always hear when people talk about the difference with Major League Baseball and the KBO is that Major League Baseball is like an opera. You go, everyone goes, they watch, they pay attention, but the cheering, the involvement isn't the same as it is in Korea. Whereas the KBO is more like a rock concert or like a K-pop concert where you're not just watching the product on the field, you're immersed and you're involved. You're cheering along with what's happening.
What a great comparison. I love it. And Jason, so right now, is it just me? I just feel like baseball fever, the fervor, it's like hot right now. Is it just my imagination, or is it the KBO? Do we have numbers?
Well, actually, over the last so last year they broke an attendance record that dated back to 2017. So they broke 10 million fans for the first time, and I think they broke the attendance record by maybe about 15-20%. And already this year they're on pace to break last year's attendance record. So certainly involvement, spectatorship, TV ratings, it's all way up for the KBO this year. I think a big part of that is probably, it's been in the news that there are a lot more female fans at the stadium than ever before. I think it's over 50% right now. So the fact that a lot more female members are going to watch games, you're seeing even more fun at the crowd, because I think the female fans cheer louder than the males do. 'Cause the males are kind of like, they're sitting there like, okay, I'm trying to enjoy this ball game, but the women are just like, no, we got to cheer for our favorite players. And like they're so passionate about it. And I think it really adds to the atmosphere.
Yes. Sean, I want to get your intake as well, insights into not just baseball, but sports, tourism. What would you say is the impact, baseball and sports is having on our city, on tourism?
Well, it's tough to say on tourism, right? I mean, global sports tourism is about a $570 billion industry, right? So there's a lot of money out there to be made. And I'm a big fan of sort of regional integration, especially in sports. So when you think of, Major League Baseball in the U.S., they've got a Toronto team. They've got a Canadian team plus the rest in America. The NHL has 7 Canadian teams and a whole bunch in the States.
Right.
Europe, if you're talking European football, you've got the Champions League and Europa League and all integrated. And so there's a lot of movement towards regional things. I would like to see the KBO put a team in Japan and have a regional team based there.
Interesting.
If they could pull it off. The reaction I get from fans, the first reaction is always, awesome. I'd go to Japan and see a game. That would be so cool. And then about 30 seconds later, they think about it and they're like, well, how would you do scheduling? And it's so far away. And the thing is, right, it's not far though. That's the thing. Fukuoka, is only about 500 kilometers from Incheon. And in Major League Baseball, the Seattle Mariners have to travel 1,100 kilometers to their nearest away game. And they play 80 away games a season.
Wow.
Right? So they travel up to 3,900 kilometers for one game when they have to go to Miami. So it's really close. And it's even closer to Busan, 200 kilometers, right? You can go by the ferry or a plane.
That's true.
And with a media consultant here, I'm sure she could tell you the marketing potential and the tourism potential for bundled flights, games, hotels, and getaway weekends, and during the week, cut rates, and all kinds of things you could do.
Like a short getaway, but so amazing. I love the idea.
Oh yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Yes, yes.
2 nights, 2 baseball games, quick flight in and out, both ways, right? I mean, Japanese coming here, Koreans going there. So, and of course, last year in 2024, we set a record with 12 million tourists in bilateral tourism between Japan and Korea. So, so we're seeing a lot of uptick in people coming. So
Absolutely.
baseball could have a part to play in that.
Well, I'm going to turn to Lima now, and I want to get your take, your spin on what we're talking about today.
Which is really interesting because, to be honest, you might have noticed that I'm not a huge baseball fan, to be honest. But as I was preparing for this talk, and I became more and more gradually into baseball. And then what's really fun about difference between cheering culture in Korea, and then like we already briefly talked about, that is that Korean fans are super energetic and they want to get involved and they want to chant together like a united kind of team. And apparently in Japan, they're a lot more respectful to the teams and to the even opponents. So they wouldn't chant towards the opponent when they're in the offense, and then they take turns
that's
when
boring.
Which is very, very, very interesting. Which is similar to concert culture as well. So I heard that even in rock concerts, Japanese fans are like sitting down and then kind of like clapping when Korean fans go like nuts. So it's which is very has a lot to do with the maybe that kind of atmosphere that they could share in throughout other cultures as well.
Right.
And in the U.S., which is also very interesting, that there is no group chant, really. It's more individuals and it's stadium-driven. So there's an announcer, just like how we're really familiar with all the Hollywood movies. They often picture, so it's exactly like that. And then the announcer introduces each players, and some popular players have their own theme song, introduction song kind of thing. But no one really like sing along together. So, which I find it really interesting. And fun fact is that in Taiwan, actually, they have quite similar culture, cheerleading culture like Korea. So recently, the cheerleaders in Taiwan are almost as popular as idols. And one of the most famous cheerleader, Pika Pika, that became like super viral globally. Yeah.
Right.
She was actually scouted by Taiwanese cheerleading team. So now she's cheering for Taiwanese at the moment. Apparently she's like a huge idol figure.
She's a star.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Right. I don't know this person. Can you show us?
It's over there. It became super popular. There were so many parodies.
But I want you to show us.
I see. I don't think you don't want to see.
Side note, if that's the case, Taipei is also closer than the Mariners would have to fly to play an away game. So we could put a regional team in Taipei as well.
Exactly.
And Ho Chi Minh City. Like the KBO can reach out to different places and make some things happen.
Yeah. Well, we hope that, people are listening. KBO, the executives maybe, with some great ideas that are being thrown out. I also do want to turn, Andrew, any other stories or anything that you want to add into our conversation about what you think is important about baseball and anything else, because you're coming from the UK, and I'm sure the culture of baseball, is it like non-existent or is it just like not popular?
So like I said before, so when I came in 2006,
yes.
I had never been to a baseball game ever. I never watched it on TV, honestly, in England.
Yes.
Did you understand the rules?
Nope.
But
no idea.
Didn't British invented baseball, cricket, and then as far as I...
So in England we have, obviously the main one is football, or as you guys say, soccer. We say football, because we use our feet. That's right.
Okay.
Football, that's a different story.
Okay, let's not go there.
But then we have, golf and cricket. I guess cricket would be the closest to baseball.
Sure.
But it's still slightly different. I mean,
that's very different.
Cricket, you can have a game that lasts 5 days, and there can still be no winner at the end of that.
Right.
But again, cricket, So I've been to watch games in England. It's more of a gentleman's sport. So maybe a bit more like Japan. It's a little bit more relaxed.
It's polite.
More polite. Although it is changing. You get a few more chants, especially when England play Australia. There are a few chants, a few songs coming in, which are quite interesting.
Yes.
But nothing like Korean baseball. So for me, Korean baseball, again, the atmosphere, even if you don't know the rules, like me, you can go to a game and you can have the best night ever. Doesn't really matter who wins. So for me, that's really sort of what Korean baseball is, just this uniting aspect, bringing everything together.
And you know what I do love about sports in general in Korea, like even the ticketing, pricing wise, at least from what I'm used to, like everything's so expensive. If I went to like, oh my gosh, to watch the Lakers, that's like an arm and a leg and then some, right? But I feel like sports and especially baseball, it's accessible to more people because the pricing isn't as pricey. Would you agree?
Yeah. It's probably at least a fifth of the cost, maybe a tenth of the cost of certain games in North America. Absolutely.
Right.
And I think that's also why I mentioned that there's been a very large spike in females attending.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the reasons is because ticket prices are so affordable. And it's not just getting in, but while you're in there, beverages, food, they're all reasonably priced as well. I mean, those are things that you'd be paying double, triple the cost of if you're in North America.
But also, what I like about Korea is you can take your own food and drink in. So I think in the UK, you just can't take anything with you. You have to pay inside.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's a number of regulations, but you can bring what you want in. And you know, it's a fact, right? Basically that when economies are in trouble or they are struggling, as Korea is right now, fans sort of line up behind their teams because it's free on television.
Yes.
Or in the case of Korea, it is almost the price of or less than going to the movies to go to a baseball game with your family. So it's
going to a movie.
Yeah, so it's really an expensive way to enjoy your time and get a lot of hours of entertainment.
If you can get the tickets.
Right. Well, yeah. I
mean, is it just me? I mean, it's so challenging. Like, I'm not a keyboard warrior. I mean, my fingers are quick, but not that quick. And it's like really, Lima mentioned like going on site, but then like, you know, it's been really tough to get tickets, no?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. It's getting tougher.
That's exactly why I had to go there hours before because I'm not really good with mobile ticketing or so like I was naive, so I was like, oh, maybe a day before, maybe I should purchase tickets or I should check out. And when I went there were no really seats available, and I was like, what? Is this possible? And it's just weekday. And I just didn't know how popular it was. And then I was told. And then that the best chance is to actually go there for those elders like me, and then just line up hours before. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So no keyboard warriors. Even the word keyboard warrior is old, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of dating me, but yes.
Yeah, but if you go on the weekend, I heard like it's like war. There's no way of like some people line up even from like morning. But then on the weekdays, it wasn't that bad on Tuesday.
Okay. Yes. And so I want to turn to Jason. Can you give us like your experience? Because like, you know, I am a lay person and I'm sure everybody else, when we watch the game, we're like, you know, enjoying the vibes. Like whether you're, you know, in the stadium or, you know, even watching from home and you had like the chimek going on and you're just enjoying it. But as a commentator, like I'm sure like it's quite different. So can you share a little bit about your experience commentating on some of the games?
Yeah, I think when I'm commentating, first off, we have, as broadcasters, just a lot more information. I mean, it'd be like watching a TV baseball game with your laptop in front of you and you're going through all the different stats. Like, you just have so much information that's going on within the game. There's constantly people handing you pieces of paper to tell you that home run actually traveled this far at this exit velocity, at this launch angle. And then once you get that information, you relay that onto the fans as well. So you're constantly being helped by a lot of other people to make the broadcast as good as possible.
Sure.
The other thing that I try to do personally is I try to help fans understand what some of the players are going through, because a lot of times people forget that the people playing are humans and they have emotions, and you know, if something doesn't go their way, they might not respond like you would expect a robot to respond.
Sure.
Emotions do get into their heads. If you make an error, then they're going to be thinking about that, and perhaps because of that, they're not going to be as focused on the next play. Maybe if the umpire doesn't give you the strike call that you wanted, or if you're the batter, they don't give you the ball call that you wanted, then once again, you're not as focused at the task at hand. So one of the things that I try to do is I like to relay that sort of information, like put yourself in this player's situation right now. Yes, he made a mistake. Yes, he wasn't perfect, but that might have been because of the previous play or the previous pitch that he's actually frustrated from. So try to get, make it a little bit more relatable to the human aspect of the athletes, as opposed to everyone's a robot. Their stat says they're supposed to do this, but they didn't. Why? What happened?
Right.
And I think there's underlying information that I try to pass on.
Jason, can I ask, you're obviously human yourself.
Yes.
Not AI.
And you must have a favorite team in Korea. But when you're commentating, how do you stay objective? Like there must be times when you really want your team to win, but they're like really close.
Yeah, I was actually born in Busan. My father was a teacher in Busan, and one of his students, when he was a teacher, was Che Dong-won. So, I've got a connection to the Lotte Giants as well. And as I mentioned before, the first broadcast that I ever did was for the Lotte Giants back in 2016, I believe it was. So there's a side of me back then when I was sort of trying to be a bit of a fan as well and push for the Busan audience, because when you're broadcasting, it's not just about necessarily being objective, but knowing who your audience is. So there's been other broadcasters that I've worked for on the national level where I am trying to be as neutral as possible. But when I was broadcasting for BEFM, then I understood that, okay, well, our audience is a Busan audience. They're going to be fans of the Lotte Giants. So we didn't mind being a little bit more accommodating to those fans and passing along information and passion in that way. So there is that side of it. But yeah, when I was working for the national broadcasters, you're trying to be as objective as possible. I learned my broadcasting in Canada, and when I was a reporter and anchor there, it was always taught that we're supposed to be as objective as possible. And there was one time I was at a Vancouver Canucks hockey game in the press box. This was, I think, my first or second year working there, and I was saying to one of the reporters next to me, "Oh man, we're really not looking good tonight." And then that reporter, who was a veteran to me by at least 10 years, said, "Well, what do you mean we? Are you on the team? Since when did you join the Canucks? Are you the manager? Are you what part of this team are you on?" And that was like my introduction to, that's right, we have to be partial. And I think that awakening kind of reminded me and really set a foundation of, okay, know who your audience is. When you have to or are supposed to be neutral, then do the best you can to be that way.
Speaking of the whole they conversation, I always hear, this season, sitting in, I believe, third right now, right?
Yeah.
But then it's previous seasons, it's always when the Giants are not doing so well, they're kind of near the bottom, they don't make it to postseason. It's kind of why are they doing so terribly? But then when Lotte is doing well, it's
we beat Hanwha yesterday.
Exactly. I mean, it's
We're
third.
That's fans across the globe, I think, for any team.
Right.
Your team's either a bunch of bums or they're awesome and you are with them all the way.
Exactly. So very common, I'm sure, for all sports, as Sean mentioned. So in terms of what you are hoping for, in the near future for baseball, I want to throw that question out to any of you on the panel right now. Because right now, I think we're really enjoying the fact we went through the numbers, how, TV viewership has gone up, the attendance at the games themselves, obviously the number support, they've gone up. It's becoming so popular once again. But what are you hoping for the future of baseball? Does anybody want to jump in? Yes.
I'll say first. So for me, as well as the university, I also work for the European Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And what we're trying to do is really trying to attract a lot of really attention to Busan.
Yes.
Because everyone knows Seoul. Outside of Korea, everyone knows Seoul. All the businesses immediately there thought, oh, let's go and invest in Seoul.
Sure.
But we're trying to promote Busan and Gyeongnam and Ulsan, this whole region. And I think really it's not just the business environment, it's the whole lifestyle as well that's important. So if we can sort of use baseball to also sort of make Busan a much more livable city, a much more exciting city to live in.
So diplomacy through baseball?
So through diplomacy. So we had an event in April. A really good game, actually. So it was going, Lotte was winning, then they were losing, then they were winning. In the end, they lost. But so
They lost.
They lost.
Oh, that's right. They lost.
Yeah, they lost.
Oh, no, I'm a proud Giant fan. We lost. I'll take it. But no, we organized for the European Chamber a big group of our members. And for a lot of them, it was the first time that they'd been to a baseball game. So again, from my perspective, from the Europeans' perspective, this sort of whole new world opened up. So I think really sports, even though it can be very divisive, it's very uniting as well. And I think we can really use it to promote Busan in many different ways.
I want to throw the same question to Sean. Your thoughts on how we can utilize sports and even baseball to the benefit of the city and the people.
Well, I'll tack on to what Andrew said, you know, the diplomatic aspects. I mean, if you think about a KBO team in Japan or a Nippon League team here in Korea, and you set up particular rules so that those teams being in different countries can actually sort of split Japanese and Korean players in a certain way that you can drum up cooperation and support.
Sure.
And you make those, I would say, a publicly owned team so that Koreans and Japanese can buy shares in the team, much like the Green Bay Packers, the American football team, is the only publicly owned American football team.
Yes.
Then you give people a stake. And who wouldn't love to see the president of Korea and the prime minister of Japan attending the inaugural day game and throwing out the first pitch?
You were going to say, watch them playing baseball.
No, man, no. Attending the inaugural day, and you're if it's a KBO team in Japan, you're on Japanese soil, so you give the ball to the prime minister. And he offers that to the president of Korea as it's a Korean business, that we're showing cooperation to. And I mean, that would light up media around the globe for how it's future-oriented diplomacy and how they can start building on a much more cooperative part of the cultural relationship instead of the divisiveness. So I think there would be a lot to be said for that.
Okay, and I can't believe it's almost time to wrap up. So I'm going to throw you a final question, but I want to give you each time to answer this one. What does baseball mean to you, or maybe what does baseball mean to Busan? Like, what do you think? I'm going to start with Lima.
Yeah, I would maybe carry on with what we just talked about. So I, as a person who born and grew up in Busan, I can totally see that because within Korea that Lotte is a national brand already.
Yes.
So like maybe it can grow like LA Dodgers or maybe Chicago Bulls. Something that represents that. That sport and a nation. So maybe global fans would just visit Sajik Stadium for the sake of experiencing that. How a lot of Koreans love to go to Europe to watch the actual football, like European football, and then just like U.S. to watch hockey games or basketball or baseball games.
Sure.
So I can totally see that happening in the future, hopefully, that globally people will come to Busan and experience Korean baseball and particularly Sajik Stadium.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Andrew?
So for me, I think what I really like about Korean baseball, especially Busan, is that there's only one team we have in Busan. So it's really the identity of Busan.
Sure.
So if you go to, I'm from Manchester in England. Manchester's very much divided.
Yes.
You're either United or City.
Yes.
As you can see, I'm United. But that's what I really like. Even like I said before, it can be divisive in Korea. I think, especially for the Giants, it really unites the whole of Busan as one group. So that's my favorite part of baseball.
Thank you. And Sean?
Yeah, I mean, to follow up on that, really, I mean, the team is really a microcosm of the city, and professional sports teams tend to embody the city that they've been in for a long time.
Right.
And, the Giants are historically somewhat of a struggling franchise, hope every year, and then fading at the end, not quite having success, much like, Cleveland teams, Chicago teams, Pittsburgh teams have long gone yore. So, they're a working man's team in a working man's town, and that character is embodied in the team. I think it's great.
Yes. And to cap it off, Jason?
Well, for me, baseball in the KBO means work. It gives me a job. It pays my bills. But seriously, there is a side of that where it does provide employment to a lot of people that work at the stadium, that work the concession, sell tickets. It's not just the athletes. We look at this broadcasting station right now. You're the face of the show, but there's a lot of people in this office and in this building that make your show possible that people don't get to see.
Yes.
And I think KBO and baseball is much the same way, where we see the 9 players on the field and the bullpen and maybe a 25-man roster of baseball players. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of people that are employed through baseball that give jobs to the city as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much. So I do want to mention your names one last time to say thank you for those of you who are tuning in a little late. So we had, of course, Kim Kyung-nim. We had Andrew Millard, Sean O'Malley, and of course Jason Lee as well. So thank you so much for making this such a meaningful broadcast, because Busan is baseball is Busan these days. So thank you for a wonderful broadcast. Thanks for coming in today. I do appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Thank you.
Yes, and I do want to let everybody know, of course, this program, this segment was created with funding from Busan Metropolitan City's Regional Broadcast Development Support Program. 이 프로그램은 부산광역시 지역 방송 발전 지원 사업 보조금으로 지원받아 제작한 것입니다. So wishing everybody a wonderful Friday, and I know it's going to rain, so I don't know how many baseball games are going to be going on, but let's root for whichever team, namely the Lotte Giants, right? Our show is produced by Choi Ye-ji, and we have our writers, Haley Seo, and then also support from Jiwon Park as well. I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back on Monday. You hear it in the background, Busan 갈매기 by Moon Sung-jae. Have a wonderful one. Bye, everybody.
내 생각 잊었는가 꽃처럼 어여뻐